Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. The wind carried a faint scent of roasted coffee through the courtyard, where the sun had not yet decided if it wanted to stay. Lytuna sat on the stone bench, her black shirt absorbing the light like a secret. Across from her, Mai's pale pink blouse shimmered softly, too delicate for a campus evening. Between them lay a thick envelope, white, weighty, and full of things that should never be spoken aloud. Mai's voice was calm when she said, "Take it." Lytuna smiled, but it was the kind of smile that hid 1,000 refusals. Around them, the world went on. Bicycle bells, laughter, falling leaves. Yet inside that small circle of silence, something vast began to crack. Not between enemies, but between two women who loved the same man in two different lifetimes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The truth is just beginning to unfold. The envelope lay untouched, its flap breathing faintly in the wind, opening, closing, like a mouth trying to confess. Mai's words cut softly. "This is not cruelty, Lytuna. Cruelty is waiting until you can't leave anymore." Lytuna's hand hovered above the envelope, feeling its heat without touching it. She could smell the city, dust, roasted beans, and the faint sweetness of youth. "Do you think I'm here for this?" she asked quietly. Mai didn't answer right away. She straightened her sleeves, her face a portrait of restraint. "Everyone wants something," she murmured. Lytuna looked down, her voice steady but fragile. "I want Henry's laughter, the one that sounds like a bell. I want Alex to sleep without fear. I want mornings that belong to no one else. Those are expensive dreams, Mai, but I'm willing to pay for them with my life." The silence stretched until the sky turned amber. The envelope rested between them like a wound neither wanted to close. Then Lytuna pushed it back. "You can't buy the ending," she whispered. Mai blinked, the faintest flicker of pain crossing her eyes. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," Lytuna replied, her tone almost kind. "If I do, let it be mine." Mai left with a sound that was almost a sigh, the click of her heels fading into the evening hum. The white car waited under the jacaranda trees, engine purring softly like an unspoken threat. When the door shut, night resumed its patient work. Lytuna sat there long after the world forgot her. The envelope lay still, not hers, not Mai's, just a quiet witness. Later, in her dorm room, the rain began. She listened to it washing away the day, washing away pride, washing away the faint trace of perfume that still lingered on her sleeve. Her fingers brushed the cup, the books, the tiny sticky notes that had lost their courage. In the dark, she thought about kindness that cuts and love that costs. She sent Alex a photo Henry had drawn, a round man holding a cup larger than his face. When his reply came, a voicemail of Henry practicing the word smile, Lytuna pressed the phone against her chest. The sound was imperfect, the way all beautiful things are. And for the first time that night, she smiled. Morning came like an apology. Light slipped through the curtains, hesitant, almost afraid to touch what had survived the night. Lytuna brewed a cup of instant coffee, waited until it was lukewarm, and only then took a sip, as if warmth required patience. Her phone buzzed twice, a message. "Alex, are you on campus?" Then another. "We need to talk." The words were simple, but they carried a weight that tilted the room. She sat down so quickly the chair complained. There was no reason for fear, and yet her breath moved unevenly, as if counting invisible steps. She went to the cafe, their cafe, where the mornings always smelled of ground beans and quiet beginnings. The bell at the entrance chimed softly when she opened the door, a sound so familiar it hurt. Alex stood there, his white shirt wrinkled, his eyes shadowed with exhaustion. He crossed the floor slowly, as though walking through something fragile. "Hi," he said. "Hi," she replied, trying to smile, but the smile remembered too much. He sat down across from her, palms flat on the table, a gesture of surrender. "She came to see you," he said. "She told me." Tuna's eyes didn't flinch. "She gave me money," she said softly. He nodded. "She said you refused." "She said that?" Tuna looked away, then back. "I hesitated, Alex. Not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't believe she thought I'd need it." The cafe held its breath. Even the espresso machine hissed like a whispering witness. Before he could answer, the bell rang again. Another visitor. Mai stood at the door, pink shirt, blue jeans, hair neatly tied, a figure carved out of composure. The light framed her like a portrait of irony. "I came to apologize," she said evenly. "I crossed a line last night." Tuna's gaze met hers without defense. "Then I accept. Keep the money." A flicker of surprise softened Mai's mouth. "Saying no to the wrong thing always makes you seem brave." Alex's jaw tightened. "We're not here to discuss bravery." "No," Mai replied, turning to him. "We're discussing convenience." Her words cut through the air like glass, elegant, dangerous, sharp. Alex leaned forward. "I'm not convenient, Mai." Mai reached into her bag and placed a folded photograph on the table. "You should see," she said, "what rejection looks like from a distance." He didn't want to look, but curiosity betrayed him. In the photo, a bench, a white envelope, a girl in black holding her own spine like a sword. He tore it once, then twice, then again. The pieces fell onto the coffee tray like paper snow. "Look closer," he said quietly. "You'll see that I stayed." Something broke in Mai's stillness. Not defeat, but something gentler, something human. "You'll hurt her," she whispered. "I'll learn from it," Alex said. "And I'll still come back in the morning." For a heartbeat, all three of them existed inside the same silence, past, present, and the price of love, before it began to fade. And at that moment, everything changed. The cafe exhaled quietly after Mai left. The air felt lighter, though not yet free. Alex didn't speak. His eyes followed the door as if watching a wave retreat, knowing it might come back, knowing it might not. Tuna's fingers circled the rim of her cup, tracing the thin line of heat that still lingered. "You didn't bring the envelope," she said softly. "You brought yourself." He gave a tired smile, the kind that comes after surviving something you don't have a name for. "Can we go out?" They stepped into noon, where the sunlight no longer hid. The heat shimmered on the sidewalk, trees casting restless shadows that danced on their arms like moving lace. Neither knew where to go. Their hands decided before their minds could. The world moved around them, buses sighing, birds sweeping low, the faint laughter of strangers. Yet, in the middle of all that noise, they found a kind of peace that silence had been holding for them. Alex spoke first. "You once asked if I wanted you to say yes." He paused. "I don't want you to say anything I can't help you live." Tuna laughed softly, not to dismiss him, but to breathe again. That's a difficult question, Alex. Then I'll keep answering until it isn't. They walked back to the dormitory courtyard, where yesterday's confrontation had taken place. The bench was still there, ordinary and unmoved, the same stones beneath it, the same faint smell of dust and roasted beans. Tuna stared at the spot where the envelope had once rested. Funny, she murmured. It looks smaller now. Distance, he said. It always does. Her gaze softened. Would you like to see Henry? He turned to her, surprised, not by the question, but by the tenderness behind it. Always. They took the bus, the one Henry called Big Boo. The seats were warm, the metal pole cool beneath Alex's hand. Through the window, the city stretched and shimmered, pretending not to watch them. Tuna leaned her head against the glass. Are you still angry? She asked. Alex shook his head. I was only angry at the part of me that mistook guilt for loyalty. The bus rattled over uneven stones, carrying them forward. She turned to him, her eyes reflecting the window's trembling light. Thank you for tearing the photo. It wasn't the photo, he said. It was the distance it tried to keep alive. They shared a silence that no longer hurt. Outside, a boy pointed at a cloud and named it something only he understood. Tuna smiled. Maybe love doesn't need witnesses, she said. Maybe it only needs the courage to stay. Alex reached for her hand, interlacing his fingers with hers, an answer without words. The bus slowed near a small park. A boy's laughter echoed, bright and fearless. Henry was there, holding a toy cup bigger than his face, waving at them. When he saw Tuna, he shouted, "Smile!" misplacing the L the same way he always did. She laughed, a full, unguarded laugh that made the morning seem like it was starting again. Alex turned to her. He calls this place our station, you know. Then let's stay for a while, she said, before the world catches up. They sat on the bench beside Henry, watching the sunlight fold itself over the playground. The air was thick with the scent of orange peels from a nearby vendor, the same scent that had followed Mai's departure. For a fleeting second, Tuna thought she saw a figure in a pink shirt across the street. Just a blur of color, then gone. Maybe it was memory, maybe forgiveness. And in that gentle blur, something shifted, not erased, but released. The wind lifted a scrap of white paper from the road, spinning it upward until it vanished into the sky. Some stories don't end. They simply change shape. The afternoon light mellowed into gold, washing the city in quiet forgiveness. Tuna sat beside Alex and Henry on the bench, their shadows long and mingling across the ground. The laughter of the boy rose and fell with the breeze, a fragile rhythm that held the world together. Alex leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes half closed. Do you think she'll come back? He asked, his voice barely more than a thought. Tuna took a slow breath. Maybe not, she said. And maybe that's mercy. The air around them shimmered, heat meeting wind, memory meeting time. In another part of the city, a cafe door would open, letting in the smell of oranges and something unspoken. Somewhere, Mai might be sitting alone, realizing that love isn't always about possession. Sometimes it's about letting the story continue without you. Tuna's eyes followed a leaf tumbling down the path, its edges catching sunlight. I used to think love meant holding on, she said softly, but maybe love is knowing when to stay still. Alex reached for her hand again. No promises this time, no arguments, just warmth, the kind that survives misunderstandings, distance, and nights of doubt. A bus sighed in the distance. Henry turned, his voice bright. "Big Boo's coming back." They laughed, all three, the sound weaving through the fading day like a thread of gold. Tuna looked at the man beside her, weary, imperfect, real, and for the first time, she understood that peace was not the absence of struggle, but the quiet after choosing. As the sun dipped, the city lights began to blink awake. Somewhere between the hum of engines and the whisper of wind, the past folded itself neatly and drifted away. Tuna closed her eyes and listened to the heartbeat beside her, to the laughter ahead, to the silence that no longer frightened her. Maybe love doesn't end. It just changes shape. And in that small moment, with dusk leaning over their shoulders, everything was exactly as it should be.
Giữa ánh sáng chiều mai, Phong bị tiền đến ký túc xá, muốn Tử Na bỏ rơi Alex, nhưng Tử Na từ chối. Cô chỉ mong giữ lại những điều giản dị ngược với Henry. Giấc ngủ yên của Alex buổi sáng sáng hôm sau, Mai xuất hiện một lần nữa giữa quán cà phê, đối mặt cùng Tử Na và Alex nhân lời xin lỗi, những bức ảnh, những im lặng, tất cả hóa thành khoảnh khắc của sự thật. Alex bức ảnh chọn ở lại, Mai rời đi trong ánh sáng cuối cùng. Trên chiếc xe buýt, Tử Na và Alex nắm tay hướng về Henry. Tình yêu không thắng cũng không thua, nó chỉ đổi hình dạng trở nên dịu dàng và sâu sắc hơn.